Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shared Assets Productions. I'm Sean Conahay of Dakman Productions, and we have Andrew Fitch from MrPictovid. And welcome to our very first large scale uh, live show. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to kick off something a little bit different to try and promote the hobby of G scale, large scale. We're saying large scale because we want to do more than just G. We want to include F scale and as well into the this podcast type of live talk show. And so our first show is going to be geared towards meet the host sort of like deal. So we're going to talk a little bit about Dakman Productions. We'll talk a little bit about MrPictovid, and we'll go into a little bit about G scale trains here. So Dakman Productions, I'm sure you guys are a little bit more familiar with how with my channel. I got started in 2011, 2010 actually, and I started doing G scale train shows on my channel right around 2012, and going to the East Coast large scale train show was how I actually got started doing this, and it was all by suggestions of people and viewers like yourself. When I belonged on websites and forums, um, I would always have people saying, I started going to the shows in 2007, and I would post a couple pictures, and they would say, "Hey, can you bring us more photos?" And then I would bring up more photos, and then every year I would do something more, and then they're asking, "Can you do videos?" Well, I'm like, "Well, there's somebody already doing that show on video." And then, so for those who are not familiar, I believe it was Large Scale Online that was actually covering originally the East Coast Large Scale Train Show until about 2012 because they were sponsored by St. Albans, and St. Albans went out of business right around 2011. So 2012, Large Scale Online decided not to come back to the train show. So I felt as though it was a good opportunity to get into something different, to get involved into the hobby, and I haven't looked back. I really enjoyed, going to the shows and going to the open house events, and the club meets, and it's been a great experience, and I met a lot of good people in the time period that I was into the G scale hobby. And for those who know me, I got into G scale in 2000 and got back out of it in 2015.
Hey,
And
Sean.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I see a few people commenting they're having buffering issues.
okay. I'm not sure why. Do you see anything on your end?
Yeah. I see one person said they exited the stream and came back in, and it's fine now.
Okay.
So
So
maybe
yeah,
it's not on our end.
if you guys are having a problem with buffering, sometimes it could be on your end. Um, so you might want to come back or go back out and come back into the live stream. So there'll be a lot of technical things we'll have to work out. It is our first show, so your suggestions are appreciated. And you can always watch the replay as well. The replay should play pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I got out of G Scale in 2015, but I never forgot, the friends that I made, and I still kept going back to the train shows, and because I just find that, once you make these friends, you always want to stick to them and be around them, and MrPictovid, Andrew asked me, he says, you got out of G Skill. Why do you want to do this? That was one of his questions to me when I presented this project to him, this idea having a show about large scale trains. He says, "Why do you want to do this?" I said, "I made a promise to the G scale people that I would continue to um, I would continue to promote them and hopefully promote the hobby of the large scale community." And that was something that I wanted to continue to do for them because, as you see, even well after 2015, I've still been bringing large scale videos to my channel. And it was sort of like, oh, hold on. Sorry about that. But at any rate, so along the way, as I was doing going to these training shows and shooting video, and I went HD finally 720, and then I got a new camcorder, went 1180, or 1080. I mean, I'm a little loud, but 1080 back last year, a year before, and started shooting 1080 high def videos. I met Andrew along the way. I forget how long ago it was, and we were at a large scale training show together one year, and we were shooting videos and stuff. And I remember I put a whole bunch of videos and photos up, and he was like, you're just so you do so much more content and stuff. I think I might want to give up on this. And I said, no, don't give up on it. I said, you want to stick with it because if something happens to me, I want somebody to be able to take my place. You know what I mean? If I get if I get into an accident or I can't make it to a show, I get sick or something, there should be somebody to take my place. So I took him. He was asking for suggestions and stuff on how to improve his videos for his channel, and so I was giving him pointers along the way of how to do certain things and look for certain angles and stuff like that. And he's really improved on his videos, and I really enjoy what he's doing. So I really appreciate the team effort that because we had done team up videos before we even thought about doing this show. We actually teamed up together. We did an East Coast large scale train show. We combined videos together. We did a team up. We called it team up back then instead of shared assets productions. We also did. We teamed up on the Smoking Oak Railroad, Garden Railroad. That was an open house that we did together.
Pretty popular video on your channel, by the way, Sean, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it really took off, and I think it was because there was two different perspectives that came together as one that drove that video. Because you have your own perspective, which is pretty good, and I got my own, and putting that together, and it came out to be. It was a big response on that video, and I was pretty happy with the response and the views on it. And then
there's Andy Stobie's watching.
Oh, cool!
Pop up on there.
Yeah, don't be afraid to mention the people on here. That's what the show's all about. It's about friends. I mean, we got Cody on here. We have Bob Coleman. Hey, hello, Bob. He's from the South Pennsylvania Garden Railroad Club. And so I'm just scrolling through here. Crossed Anchors.
Crossed Anchors. Yeah.
Yeah, Crossed Anchors. They're a great group. They're O-Gaugers. I've been co-hosting for them. And sorry, guys, I haven't really been reading the comments, so I'm going back. Bruce Morrell. Bruce is in Jersey with me, and I'm going to switch this thing to comments so I can watch what's going on here. But yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first live show. So, at any rate, so we did a couple team up videos, and then I got involved doing live shows with a couple of O-Gaugers, Crossed Anchors. I've been on a couple other live shows. I've been co-hosting. I'm like, and I couldn't not believe the popularity of these live shows. And I'm like, I think this would really boost the large scale community in a big positive way because your YouTube is across the globe, it's across the world, so it's not like you're meeting somebody at a train show. It's still localized, really. So when you do something like this, you're reaching people in Germany or Europe or wherever, Alaska, all over the world. So I think this is the way to go as far as um, getting people to. I'd like a link to that video. I don't know if you can do that for him, Andrew, but
Yeah,
Jonathan's asking a link
I'm
for,
looking for that now.
yeah, the Smoking Oak video. And so I approached Andrew. I said, "Would you be interested in doing a live show about the large scale community?" And we were going back and forth. We decided that it should be done on in a neutral production type of company. So we decided we both like Conrail, so we came up with Shared Assets Productions because Conrail survived after the Norfolk Southern and CSX split. They became known as Conrail Shared Assets. So we just removed the word Conrail and became Shared Assets Productions, and I think that's a perfect match because we're sharing, uh, the our we're sharing our things together. Hey Frank, how you doing?
Looks
Uh,
like Colin that we'll talk about a little bit more later is on here. That will actually be our guest on our next show.
there you go.
So
So yes,
thanks for
we are.
tuning in, Colin.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a guest list that's already starting to fill in, and it's just been a great response from the large scale community of people who are interested in being involved in doing this because, like I said, you get a much better reach, even than a better reach than even going to a train show. Because even a train show is still isolated, and there's only one large scale train show left in America, right? It's the East Coast large scale train show. I mean, the other ones have pretty much been shut down. So, um, and I'm reading through the comments. Sorry, don't know why. But at any rate,
You need to thin down your videos, Sean. I'm having a hard time finding this one. You're gonna have to delete some.
well, yeah, I have 530 videos posted on, but you should find if you go to my main channel, I have everything divided up in playlists, and go under the G Scale playlist for
Ah, yes.
not for the train shows, for the other one.
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
Well, the
Yeah.
playlist, not the video yet. I'll get there.
Yeah. It'll be in that playlist. Um, so it's the response we had with this idea has been pretty good, and the possibilities are endless. We can actually share the screen. In other words, if I go to the East Coast large scale train show, we probably got a couple weeks worth of material from that, and we can actually bring that to you guys live. Like we cover the show, and I can show pictures. Okay, here's RLD Hobbies, and here's what he was offering, and here's Reindeer Pass, and here's what he had, and here's USA Trains, and here's what they had on display. And so here's the South, the South Pennsylvania Garden Railroad Club, and here's what they were running. And so the possibilities for a show are endless. And we
Am I
also,
not able to share web addresses in the chat, Sean? Do
oh,
you got
that's right.
something?
I have to give you you have to be a wrench for that. I have to give you admin permissions. We'll have to do that later on. But you should be able to put in the comment after the video, I guess.
Or yeah, I can put it in the regular comments of the video too. I think I just can't put it in the live chat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You have to be a wrench to do that. So
We'll get you that link later, Jonathan.
yeah. Yeah, we're like I said, we're still working things out, and I have to give Andrew permissions so he can do that on the next time we do this show. Train Fest will be back. I still have to make that. I mean, I don't know how much large scale is out there, I'm also an O-Gagers, but I hear people talking about Train Fest all the time. So that's one of the shows I would like to see one day. Um, we will go ahead and move on here, and I'm going to introduce Andrew Fitch, MrPictovid, and Andrew, when you why did you end up starting a YouTube channel?
Uh, Completely unrelated to trains.
Really?
Um, I my early adventures. Yeah, I'll message it to you, Jonathan. I can't multitask. I can't talk and type at the same time. It'll be a train wreck so bad that everything on the shelves behind me will probably roll off onto the floor, and then everybody will watch me cry. We don't want to see that. um, no, I got a digital camera years ago, and I was into taking photos, and I I did a lot of slideshows from the photos and that, and I had posted a slideshow. It was from a wedding I had taken some pictures at, and I wanted to share it where people could see it. And at that time, I think it was like 2009. YouTube was a little bit different then, and I thought, well, let me throw it up on there. Everybody should be able to see it. And you had to create a channel name. Uh, I was kind of at a loss as what to use for a channel name, and I thought, well, what am I doing? I'm taking pictures and I'm turning them into videos by making a slideshow out of them. So MrPictovid is what I ended up with. It was never thought out to be anything for the train stuff that it is. And actually, yeah, I know, Jonathan, excuses. That's all I got. um, but and then I didn't post any more videos for a while. And it wasn't until I'd have to look, but it wasn't until a few years after that I had gone to up in Cleveland. They were having the National Model Railroad Association convention, and I had gone up one of my really old videos, and all it was a bunch of cell phone grabs of different layouts that were running. It's not the best quality video in the least. And I thought, well, let me put this up on my YouTube channel, and I posted that up, and I think a couple other videos. And I didn't think anything more of it at the time. And I went about whatever I was doing in my life, and I happened to come back one day and look, and that video from that NMRA convention, I think at the time it rolled around to a couple thousand views, which really kind of shocked me. I thought, wow, people actually want to watch train videos. And I kind of revamped a little bit. I got rid of the stuff that was on there that wasn't train related, and made the channel strictly focused on train stuff. And then I proceeded to make a bunch of more videos that really didn't get any views, as is the mystery with YouTube of what really gets views or not. And I got discouraged for a while and didn't upload anything. But I think I may have finally, uh, come down to a formula of videos people want to watch. But yeah, I never started on YouTube with the intention of doing train videos. It was completely unrelated. I never had any intentions of uploading anything more than the couple of videos that I did, and it just happened to be that one video I put up. People started watching it, and until about a year ago, it was probably my number one video. It had the most views on it, and it still has a decent amount of views on it now. Other ones have vastly surpassed it now, but yeah, if it wouldn't have been for people, once again, for whatever reason, watching that video, uh, you know, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. Well, I would. It would have nothing to do with trains and have like 3 videos on it. So uh, I very much do it, um, for the enjoyment of other people. Uh, if people didn't watch what I put up or get something out of it, um, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take the time to make videos to go, hey, 10 people watch that. Um, I get a little bit of satisfaction out of you know people getting enjoyment out of the videos that I do. Um, so yeah, that's where it started from.
And, and and when did you actually start the shooting video of G scale or garden trains or large scale in general?
Uh, that would have been when I joined the Riverside Railroad Club. And I can't remember when the heck that was. Cody's in the chat. He might remember when I joined that. Uh, if he wants to throw that in there, that might have been, what year is this, everybody? 2020. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we want to forget about that year. Uh, I don't know. That was probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. Um, and I mainly just started taking videos just to kind of take videos for the club at the time. And once again, I really never had any big plans of doing anything with it. It was just taking videos for the club when we'd have open houses and that. And I have other scales and that mixed in with my videos, but as I um, built my own garden railroad, or attempted to, or as Cody built 75% of my garden railroad. Yes, I'm going to give you credit, Cody. All your sweat equity. Uh, no, I probably wouldn't have 3/4 of my garden railroad built without Cody. He's helped me immensely on it, along with other friends, obviously. But I have to give the land share of credit to Cody. Um, Most of my recent videos that I've done have been with his help as well. I don't own any Rio Grande equipment. That all comes from Cody.
No,
And
where you got all that Rio Grande from?
I don't know. I don't know any other guy that was in the G scale with Rio Grande stuff. You know.
I think a lot of that Rio Grande stuff might have been featured on Dakman Productions at one time, back in the early days.
Yeah. But yeah, it kind of started. I bought G scale. Good grief. Probably back in 2001, 2002. I was in the HO scale still at the time, and the local hobby shop had gotten in some G scale. Someone had ordered it and never came back in to pick it up. And I bought I think a couple engines, a couple of cars. I took it home, put it on some track, ran it around, and said, I don't have any place to do anything with this, living at home with my parents yet at the time. And I put it all away. And after I got involved with the Riverside Railroad Club and started taking a little bit of stuff I had up there to run, like everybody knows, the train hobby kind of really takes off on you. Uh, Jonathan, the fish guy there, knows all about how friends influence and your train habit goes insane, right, Jonathan? um, but yeah, I don't know. I just one day I decided I wanted to do something with trains, and HO scale wasn't quite cutting it anymore for me. And like I said, Riverside Railroad Club kind of really egged that along to the point that I said, I really want to, have my own place to run some stuff. Which, with the way this year's been, it's actually been kind of nice to have, some place to run my stuff. And yeah, it keeps me out of trouble, that's for sure. Well, then again, I don't know. How many, got 18 people watching right now? I'm guessing all 18 of you could probably tell us how trains actually could get you into trouble.
I see we are joined by Sean Fields and also Raymond Abbott. I know Raymond; he's been to quite a few East Coast large scale train shows. So I'm actually seeing a lot of familiar names that we normally
Yeah.
see at the train
I
shows.
know Sean Fields. He's in I'm friends with him on Facebook and in a group chat with him and several other people that are in here right now.
Right.
I'll make it down to Sean's place eventually one day. Well, and make it to your place as well one day, Sean. But you gotta put the G scale track back on the floor so I can bring my stuff over and run it. Cause I don't have any O gauge.
If I was if I had stayed in G scale, I probably would have changed all that and actually made modules modeled after the railroad clubs at the that were featured at the East Coast large scale train show, because it was getting to a point where I was getting tired of running on the floor. But for those who don't know, the reason why I got out of G Skill, because for me personally, there wasn't a lot of new things coming out, which is going to go to our next subject. G Skill took a big hit there as far as losing a lot of manufacturers and hobby shops. It just went into a turmoil, and I'm not sure which came first, if it was the bankruptcy of LGB or the disappearance of Aristocrat, but they were two of the biggest names that disappeared. Of course, LGB returned after Markland bought them, but what didn't return was LGB of America. I'm sure people's heard of that name. It's been a while since that name was brought around, but LGB thought it'd be good to open up a division called LGB of America, and are trying to focus on bringing American type paint scheme type of train G scale to the large scale community.
I'm just looking at the comments as you're talking here, and Trainwreck Films, Colin. I tend to agree with him. He's saying 100% Aristo. Maybe not fully 100%, but I think Aristo pumped a lot of product into the market. I mean, to the extent that for how long after being out of business, you can still find brand new in the box items. I mean, they pumped a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, that they did. And not only did we lose manufacturers, but we lost a couple of big, I mean, huge hobby shops that supported our hobby. St. Albans was at one time was one of the largest G scale dealers that I know of, and Sandval, owned by Al Kramer, was another one.
I disappeared there for a moment.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I think we found out what you're doing when you retire. I see Shuttle Train Ted said he's hoping you'll open a G scale traveling museum in a semi. So maybe you can do that when you retire, Sean.
There you go. But yeah, we lost Sandval Trains, which was owned by Al Kramer. He decided to shut that up or shut it down. And then St. Albans, which was one of the places I dealt with for a long time. And this was all these places were open before RLD and Reindeer Pass. So out of the all the old when Sandville shut down and St. Albans shut down, then RLD Hobbies opened, and then we had Reindeer Pass, and they're both wonderful hobby stores to deal with, and both friendly guys. You know, I get to chat with them every time I go to the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, and then in Canada, I don't know if anybody's here in Canada. You have Art Knapp, and he was always the biggest Canadian G scale dealer in Canada as well. And so the G scale community took a huge loss. And then, of course, if it didn't get any worse than that with the bankruptcies and the closings, then you had the thing going on in China where the Chinese factories were actually shutting down as well. I don't know if you remember that, Andrew.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about, manufacturing in China. I do know it's a completely different ecosystem from us.
Yeah, and like I said,
Oh no.
what's
I
up?
see I see the dreaded question I thought was going to pop up about
What's
the
up?
Aristo molds.
Oh no, I'm not answering that. Sorry.
I I can't answer it because I really don't know what the answer is to that whole enigma. I've
Yeah,
heard answers every which way on that one.
yeah. We rather not comment on that question. So at any rate, um, but yeah, getting back to the China thing, there was quite a few places that closed down China, and then it became one big manufacturing place. Uh, so all the manufacturers were trying to get their trains made, and it caused such huge delays. And then the minimum quantity of what had to be produced went up. So in other words, if you were Bachman and you had this Tidewater tank car, and you want the manufacturer to make this tank car for you, the minimum now, I believe I heard, I could be wrong, is right around 400 or 500. So you have to be able to sell 500 of these Tidewater tank cars in D scale, and in a market that's already a niche market, that's going to be a hard
Looks
sell.
like we got. Um, I'm sorry if I forgot your name. I believe it's Heath from Human City.
Yeah, Heath.
Uh,
Yeah, he's a great guy, Heath.
yeah, he just popped in. He said hello to both of us.
All right, great. Looks like we got crossed anchors. Um, but yeah, so things actually manufacturing actually changed to where they raised the amount that you have to get produced. And if you can't sell 500 of those things, then you're not going to have them made. Because I see people ask the question all the time: how come this ain't made in G scale, this road name and that road name? You have to understand that if you can't sell the minimum that's required, like 400 or 500, am I going to be able? The first question the person or the manufacturer asks is, am I going to be able to sell 500 of these in this road name? That's why you see Santa Fe is one of the ones that you see being made all the time. Um, so that's one of the hotter sellers, I guess. But it's kind of hard to determine what's going to sell and what doesn't. And but like USA Trains is actually coming back out with the GP38, and they're actually coming out with a new road name, GATX. And so they're trying to do something more modern. GATX is a leasing company, and it's actually a more of a modern day locomotive road name that you would see. And if I was in G scale, I would jump all over that because I like the modern stuff, you know. Uh, so uh, between the losses that we had over the years, we're trying to make an impact on the G scale community to try and keep it going and bring it to people like you and keep you up to date on the news and what the manufacturers are doing and what's going on. Uh, there's been quite a few delays with USA Trains. People have probably noticed. USA Trains also announced that they're doing a EMD F7. People keep asking me, what about the SD40? When's that coming out? Well, the last time I talked to Mike at USA Trains was in 2019, and he told me then that they were trying to come up with a new set of power trucks for that, but he didn't really say what they were changing or what they were doing. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It seemed the speculation on that was that maybe they were going to revamp the that whole I don't know what the proper term is, but the articulated axle on that. Whether that's the actual thing or not, I don't know, because obviously no one officials told us that. But that does seem like that's been an issue depending on who you talk to. Some people have no issues with it, some people do.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people put fixes on. They'll put shims in there so they don't pivot anymore. They'll glue like styrene plastic shims in there so they don't pivot. So I've seen different fixes for those, but it's I guess you know they're trying to keep the product going, but they're just getting delays. They actually switched manufacturers in China, so it took them at least 2 years to get their molds back. From what I understand, when I was talking to Mike in 2019, it took them 2 years, and that's why you've seen such a delay on locomotives and stuff. So now you're going to see locomotives coming back out. That's why you're seeing the GP 38 coming back out, and they're making all these announcements for the train wreck film.
I just want to say real quick so nobody thinks I'm laughing at Sean while he's talking. While he's talking, I'm watching the comments, and
I've seen it.
A couple of chuckly things came up there, but actually, maybe something we want to address because someone actually has a question here. Sean is from Shuttle Train Ted there.
Yeah,
I'm going to do with.
Hold on here. I'm going to show it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You have all the controls on your side. You're wearing the pants in this relationship.
This time around, it's your turn. So the big question I had going into the hobby was, why isn't a G scale more representative in Nmra, and why no national organization? Two completely conventions, big train operators versus NGRCC or NGRRC. Well, that's kind of a tough one right there because I don't think the NMRA recognizes G scale, do they?
I think they do, but I think one of the larger issues that the NMRA has or had with G scale was the fact that it encompasses so many scales.
Yeah, exactly.
The NMRA is about, I mean, they're about a lot of things, but a big part of it is standardization, I believe, and it's kind of hard to standardize, a whole mess of, I mean, what all do we have in there? We got what, 132, 129, 124.
Yeah.
But 122.5, is that in there as well, I think?
Well, that's really like yeah. I mean, I guess you could consider that part of, because actually it was originally narrow gauge, and then I don't know. That was something that LGB did when they first started, but I think it was originally supposed to be narrow gauge, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm just looking here.
All right, so let's show some other things here. Bob Coleman says he agrees with me. There needs to be more modern rolling stock and diesels. Everything seems to be stuck in the 60s. I totally agree with that. Yeah, exactly. That's what drove me away from the hobby of G scale. I mean, I'm not knocking the older stuff, but the world of O gauge just offered me so much more with so many more choices of modern trains. Bachman did announce on one of these live shows that they're going to try and come back out with a Dash 9. even that's kind of like old now. I hate to say that, but it's true. That's like it's still not a modern day locomotive. So how cool would it be to see, a G scale manufacturer make a GE AC 6000 or an ES 44 AC, which those are today what you would see new coming out.
I see. I believe it's Raymond Abbott here commented on the AML GP60.
Right.
Because
Uh,
and you and I were actually talking about that before we got on here, Sean, about when AML originally announced that. And I think the earliest comments I found was like 2015, 2016, maybe, when those were announced at the time.
yeah, AML originally announced they were going to come out with a GP60 and SD9. This was after Aristocraft had already folded up, and Aristocraft had actually announced they were going to do an SD9, but that never happened either. Um, Eventually, AML pulled the SD9 off their website, so I don't know what's going to happen to that. But I was sort of surprised to see the revisit to the GP60 because that's sort of like almost like an oddball locomotive. Not a lot of road names were actually ran at, so I was actually surprised they were doing that. Like Rio Grande only had 3 GP60s, so but I hope they do well with it. And it is,
Looks like Heath said he looked on the NMRA website and he's not seeing G listed on there.
yeah, the NMRA. I think you hit the nail on the head because I remember back in the day that they weren't recognizing G skill, at least when I was into it, because of the different. There was no standardization. I think you hit it right on the head. And
Yeah. Well, like Trainwreck Films said here as well, as far as everything being in the 60s is obviously the smaller radiuses, because obviously large radiuses in G scale take up a lot more room.
yeah, and that's the thing is like any real train, it's
Shut it down, Sean. Shut it down. Kenny's here.
but
Sorry, Kenny. We love you.
as trains, it's like a real train. How real railroads progress. Like in the early 40s, you had 40-foot box cores, 40-foot gondolas, so they didn't need these big curves back then. But as the cars got bigger to carry more and more and more, so now you got an 89-foot scale auto rack. Now you need a bigger curve to run that. So if you want to get into more modern day railroad operations, then you're going to need to do what the real railroads did and have these big, huge curves. Let's see what else. The GP60 is happening. I can touch on that too. So
yeah, I know I'm trying to think. I think they actually had some photos up on AML's website I was looking at earlier. I think they had like some pre-production sample photos or something.
yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah,
I would
Trainwreck
love.
Films though he's actually up to speed on a lot of that stuff, especially with the GP60, I believe.
Yeah, I'm more or less up on the USA Trains product line, so I can touch a lot on that. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one here. Nico Corbo is here. Hello, Nico. For those who are not familiar with Nico, he ran and formed the Pocono Mountain Garden Railroad Society, and I've actually shot video at when they had their open house tour at one time. Okay, so he says they tried to create a standard for the MRA, but they couldn't get the manufacturers on board. So there you go. That's what I thought happened. They just couldn't get it done. So that's why the NMRA doesn't recognize G scale. But it's funny that they didn't recognize G scale, but yet they got USA Trains to make them custom run boxcars to sell. So it was kind of funny how that went. Um, so there's a lot of good things. It seems like there's a lot of good things starting to happen in G Scale again. AML's trying to come out with something new. USA Trains is making improvements. They came out. They're trying to come out with the FEF locomotive to go with their heavyweights. And the heavyweight cars are really nice. And so I hope that the train show next year at the East Coast Large Scale Train Show when USA Trains has their booth open, we can bring you either a live show from there or we can actually present what they have to offer here. But so like I said, this live show has so many possibilities with sharing with everybody. So if you want to be a part of this live show, shoot Andrew a message. We would love to have you, and he's keeping a list of people who we would like to bring aboard. So if you want to talk about weathering, or if you were part of manufacturing at one time, or even a club or your own private G scale layout, we would love to have you guys on board.
Yeah, well, like the one update post that I made. This show really isn't about you or I, being the stars of the show. I personally hate being on camera. I have to look at this in the mirror every morning. But no, moving forward after this, our goal is to have, a different guest each time on, as you said, Sean, whether it's, someone that's, making some product on a small scale, or wants to demonstrate weathering, or I believe there was some mention in the comments back through here. I don't know, I'd have to look through here. Someone mentioned something about having a virtual open house for their garden railroad, and
oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, we could even do something like that. Someone wants to come on and just show their layout and tell us about it, what inspired them, to build it and stuff like that.
Right. So depending on how well this takes off is depends on how we keep going with it. We would like to keep bringing this to the large scale community and support the hobby shops and support the manufacturers. That was the one thing that was my goal from the very beginning, is supporting the hobby, the clubs, and the hobby shops. Because I remember when I first started shooting pictures and video at the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, the vendors were like a little confused as of what I was doing. But when they realized that they were getting sales from these photos that I was posting, then
I see you put that question up on the screen there, Sean.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about G scale, but I imagine you can probably address that. But I'm assuming they list O scale because we're talking about 2-rail O scale. Would I be correct?
Well, you gotta understand, Heath is an engager, so he probably means 3-rail. But
are you trying to say he's small-minded? Come on, that's not nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's more of a standard in O scale than there is in G scale, believe it or not. There really is. I mean, G is just, even when they list LGB, even though they said that their stuff is 122.5, sometimes they would never stick to those dimensions. So it was just their scale was just all over the place. It wasn't really that accurate.
I wanted to mention something because Nico popped it up here, and I feel called out now because he mentioned it before I got a chance to talk to him about it. He mentioned about reviewing his lowering bolsters, which I've had intentions of doing for a little while now. And that was actually one of my thoughts in one of our future shows, was to go over Nico's product that he made up, which is a
Well,
3D printed replacement bolster section for the Aristo cars to actually lower them down to the proper heights.
yeah, we can actually bring him on the show if he's interested. We can bring Nico on board and have him show his product, and I think that would make a cool show because Nico's done some cool stuff over the years.
Yeah, actually, he did. I think he did lowering bolsters for the streamlined aluminum passenger cars that Aristo made as well. Yeah, he did actually.
But getting back to the G-Scale train show subject, so the videos and photos that I was taking, they found that the photos were working and that the people were buying things that they seen from these photos. So it does work. Doing these things does work. So if you have a product you want to offer on here, let come aboard with us and let people see it. Describe it, and we'd love to have you aboard. Um, especially with talented people like Nico here. And so our plan is like what MrPictovid was saying, is to bring different people on board, and whether it's they're involved with the a club or the manufacturer. I have a few people in mind too. I just got to ask before I mention any names. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, I want to keep this going and keep supporting the large scale hobby. And like I said, the ideas are endless on here. Let's see.
If I knew where in my mess Nico's lowering bolsters were laying right now, I would hold one up and show it in front of the camera. But I'm not going to show everything that's laying in my mess behind me. It's atrocious. I have them, Nico. I haven't lost them.
So it looks like
I'm just going to mention. Nico said that, and I always feel like I say his name wrong. I believe it's Navin. He said that he launched his own website, Navin Hobbies. It looks like.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Now he makes he's involved with producing the Revolution. Is that right?
He's I'm not 100% sure what his affiliation is in the current structure of the Revolution boards. I know there's another guy that actually owns it. I'm not 100% sure if Navin is just doing repairs, or I just really can't comment because I'm not 100% sure where he sits inside that structure.
Right.
I'll profess right now to everybody, I don't know everything, and I probably don't know 75% of it. But what I will tell you is when I don't know something. So
right.
I know he's involved with the Revolution stuff. I'm not 100% sure where in that chain he is, what his actual title or involvement level is. I know when boards break, we send them back to Navin and he fixes them for us. So he keeps us going, right, Cody?
And that's good that there's somebody out there who's actually supporting the hobby, continuing what was originally an Aristocraft product. And I believe Aristocraft bought that off of Crest.
I was just going to say, Nico says Jay Kim owns Revolution, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Gold Coast Station is still around. Yeah, that's true. The Gold Coast Station has been around for a long time. I almost forgot about them until Tom Patterson mentioned them. But I believe the guy's name is Hans that owns the shop, and he's had USA Trains make him some beautiful Black Widow Southern Pacific scheme rolling stock, and they're well sought after as far as from people who collect stuff like that. And there is a pretty large run of made by him from USA Trains. He even had USA Trains make him, I think, two different road numbers of the SD 70 Mac and the Black Widow Southern Pacific paint scheme. Those locomotives look absolutely gorgeous. Uh, and I think I've seen a couple of people who had them, and I actually posted, I shared pictures to the USAT G Scale library. And so I don't know if you ever seen those, Andrew, the actual um, locomotives and rolling stock that Hans had made, or had USA Trains made for him. Have you ever seen those?
What were they again, Sean? I'm sorry, I was paying attention to the. We're like an
The,
old married couple already. I'm not listening when you're talking to me.
the Southern Pacific Black Widow paint scheme. Have you seen them before? Hans had them made special.
No, I haven't seen those. No.
All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if I can find those pictures here in my and I'll give you guys an example of what some of the stuff that we can do here. Custom USA Trains and Gold Coast Station. All right, so we'll go into the Black Widow series. All right, so let's see if I can share this successfully here. Let's see here, application window. Hold on here, guys. I'm still playing around with this. All right, I'm going to expand this. All right, there we go. Share. Then I'll come back here. Come back here. So many steps. All right, so here we're sharing a screen of Gold Coast Station, so you can see.
Can you?
Yeah, just 1 minute. I'm getting there. Quit being impatient. So this,
Right.
so yeah, so this is an example of some of the stuff that Gold Coast was actually having USA Trains make, and you can see the different wonderful, and these are all Southern Pacific Black Widow paint schemes, and USA Trains made all these custom runs exclusively for
So why
Gold
don't
Coast.
you pull one of those photos up, Sean, and hit the the mystery slideshow button that we kept clicking on earlier. That way people
Yeah.
can see some close-up pictures of them.
All right, so we can do a slideshow.
Jonathan, the fish guy, is signing off. He says he needs his beauty sleep.
Can you see this, Andrew?
Right now, I'm just seeing your file explorer window.
Yeah, so that's not working. How about now?
No. Did you?
Hold on. I pressed the wrong button. There.
Are you sharing the desktop or that specific window? Because if you're sharing that window, when you go full screen, it's not going to show it.
What was that again?
When you're sharing your screen, are you actually sharing the full screen, or are you sharing that file explorer window specifically? Because when you go to open that picture up, it's not going to show it if you're just sharing the file explorer window.
All right, hold on. Let me get rid of this. And I'll do it another way here.
We're still learning, guys and
Yeah, still.
gals. But, I don't want to assume that there's not any ladies in the crowd tonight, because there are ladies that are in the model trains, even though it seems like we don't see them too often.
All right. This should be a lot better now.
Should have bought a Mac. I don't know about that.
All right. So, how about now, Andrew? Is that coming up now?
Yep.
Okay. So here we go. This is the part of the Southern Pacific Black Widow series that was made especially for Gold Coast Station. Is the photos changing?
Yep.
Okay. So here we have the USA Trains Southern Pacific crane that was made especially for Gold Coast Station. 40-foot boxcar. So the mechanical reefer. So Hans over there had USA Trains make custom run, and a lot of these were very, very limited and very rare. This is a 50-foot boxcar that he had done. He did the double door, and a lot of these Hans didn't even keep for himself. Here's another mechanical reefer. I think he only did one or two of these Black Widow Southern Pacific hopper cars. There was a and you can see that's back when he was selling right out of the hobby store. So you can see how much the custom runs actually went for. It says $149 on that caboose. And so he's done some neat, really neat custom runs. Hans has, and a lot of these today are hard to find. Like take this Southern Pacific caboose. It says 2001 on it. That's exactly when this was made. Was 2001. So that would be like 19 years later. Later, try and find it. So he's had some wonderful things done. Here's a GP30 he's done. I don't know if you've seen these, Andrew.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's pretty nice looking.
Yeah, and I think he did 2 road numbers of those. There's the other one. Yep, he's done the intermodals. So he's done a lot of neat stuff, and Hans actually designed a lot of this stuff on his own. So he's had both American Series done and Ultimate Series done. So there's your Pacific Food Express. That was a neat one. I like that one. So, and there's the SD70 Mac I was telling you about.
Oh, wow.
And I said that I just thought that was the neatest locomotive ever. I can also, let's go back to us. And he's not the only one that's had custom runs done. Another one that's had custom runs done is RLD Hobbies, Robbie, and he's actually had USA Trains make him some well sought after stuff as well, and I can show you guys them real quick. So we'll get into this and this. So I'm getting a little bit better at this now, as far as sharing screens. And we'll stop this, and we'll bring up another one and share screen. Application window. And there we go. All right. So here is RLD Hobbies had these done, and once again, they were pretty much a limited run. I believe there was 4 road numbers of those. And we'll go down. So yeah, these are all RLD Hobbies custom exclusive runs. And as the picture changes, you'll see the road number change because there's 4 of them.
Looks like Trainwreck Film says he has the SD70 and GP30 and the Black Widow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're good. They're nice collector pieces. Here's the Illinois Central that Robbie had done from RLD. These were the most popular that Robbie had run was the Kansas City Southern, and so many G-scale people wanted him to make another run of them, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. But they are kind of neat looking. And that's an actual. These are actual real rail cars. These are not fantasy. This is a real rail car that you would have actually seen, just like the Gold West service. So he's actually done a nice job on them. And Robbie RLD was trying to get USA Trains to make him a Rock Island or a run of the Rock Island, but that never really happened either. So let me give for those of you who aren't familiar with RLD Hobbies, he's got a good friendly service, and so we're going to go ahead and I'll give you guys that information there. Hold on 1 minute here.
I kind of have a feeling that most of the people watching probably know of RLD Hobbies or have probably been there this year.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give him a little, boost during our show. So there's RLD Hobbies. He sells a lot of G scale trains, and he does some cool open houses. And he even does them. He does his open house live as well, doesn't he?
He doesn't do it live himself. I believe it's one of the people that attends the open house puts up a live webcam. I'm not 100% sure who it is that does it because I have yet to make it to one of Robbie's open houses. I hope to eventually. Just it hasn't lined up yet. It's probably about 8.5 hour drive, I think, from where I'm at right now.
Ooh, wow, really?
Yeah. And Robbie doesn't have any a whole lot of things around him to keep the wife entertained. Wives are great, but they don't always like hanging around with all the train nerds all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's blurry on your end, Kenny, you probably need to put your glasses on.
Whoa, yeah, that's true. And I wanted to show one other thing here. We'll share this. And so,
where is that from, Sean?
So this is an actual. Hold on here. So this is an actual ad that RLD Hobbies had run quite some time ago, and he was trying to get USA Trains to make that Rock Island GP7 for him. And if you can tell by the price, it was quite some time ago. And if you read, it says delivery summer of 2009, which really never happened. So the custom run never came to be, and Robbie just pretty much canceled them out, if I remember correctly. But you can see the Aristocrat special runs that he was doing at the time as well. And They were kind of cool. So yeah, there's been quite a few custom runs that people getting into the hobby would not know. So I just wanted to show, give people an idea of what we can do as far as screen sharing and information. So that's sort of like something that we can do from a show. Present the way I just presented you guys and showed you a little bit about the what RLD hobbies did as far as custom runs and Gold Coast Station. We can do a lot of screen sharing like that, and I think that brings an added plus to the show.
I'm hoping by our next show, which in case anybody was wondering, will be 2 weeks from today at 8:30 on Friday. We'll have our setup worked out a little bit better by then, and I think we have a few improvements planned. Right now, obviously, you can see in the top corner of our screen there, we're using StreamYards to bring this to you, which for the price of free is amazing. But yeah, we're working on a few things to make improvements. This is going to be a growing thing. Hopefully eventually, you'll see the wall behind me painted as we go along, and my shelves finished back there. You can come down anytime, Cody, and paint that wall and finish those shelves up for me.
Yeah, it's so we're just basically introducing ourselves so you know who we are, and we're giving you like a demonstration of what we can do as far as screen sharing. Of course, we've been working on a lot of technical things, and we're going to continue improving the show, and hopefully, we get the support of the large scale community because for those who haven't been keeping up, basically Garden Railways magazine has disappeared. So we want to bring a live show where you can get information right now, right here and now. So that's what's nice about this. You can put in your chat and ask a question. Say, hey, what's going on with this USA Trains SD40? What's going on with that? And we can give you an answer if we know it. If we don't know the answer, we'll tell you, look, we really can't answer. We don't really know
well, even if we can answer, as we go along, there could be someone, just like tonight, there's been several things that have been answered by people in the chat.
Yeah, that's great. So we're trying to create a world community. Basically, we're trying to bring all, like Andrew said, it's not to star us. We're not the star of the show. The whole community is the star of the show. We want to focus on the G scale people and bring everybody together so we can share the information and try and bring more people together. Because even if the train shows were still going on, and anybody who knows about the East Coast Large Scale Train Show basically got closed technically. They stayed open to let people just wander around, but
yeah,
even if
technically I wandered around.
but even if the train shows were full blown, there's still a limited amount of people go there because not everybody's going to fly in from California to go to the show. So, but with
there were people that I know in past years that have come from overseas to go to the show.
Oh yeah,
and I know a couple of guys that I'm friends with that I actually kind of missed seeing them this year because of it getting shut down. That come down from Canada. I'm not quite sure how they haul, the truckload of stuff they get back across the border into Canada, but they come down every year.
Yeah, but what's nice about this YouTube live show is that we can we have a much more, we can include everybody, around the whole globe, basically. That's what's nice.
Something we found out too was, I don't know, you're on a couple different live shows now, Sean, or been on a couple different ones. And something I really never thought about, I think it was boy, I'm probably going to get it wrong. I think it was Crossed Anchors that had a gentleman on, and he actually doesn't do social media at all, Facebook or anything. And
Yep, I
you
remember
know,
that episode.
and you know, the nice thing with YouTube is, for the most part, it's open to anybody. I mean, you don't have to have an account to get on and watch YouTube.
Right,
Um,
correct.
so it's real time. You know, it, I think it's a good outlet, or avenue for what we're doing. Um, I did want to touch on something here. I know Randall Ellison's just joking there, said about HO scale guy passing through, but I did want to point out that uh, you know as train and model train people, Sean and I enjoy all different scales of trains that are out there.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
this show's focused on G scale, not that. Um, well, I guess it's because we're showing a favoritism, but it's not that we don't like any of the other scales, but we felt we wanted to focus this on G scale, just to, as you said, Sean, to kind of, you know try and hopefully maybe give it some life, as you said. But
Right.
I just wanted to point out that we're not biased against any other scales.
Oh no, absolutely not, because both you and me have shot videos of other scales, and I've actually been invited to HO scale clubs. And yeah, I'm gonna go. And I'll shoot video because it's about meeting different people and getting to be friends with people in all gauges, no matter. And sometimes you can apply what's being done in HO scale and other scales as well. For example, a guy shows you how to do something in HO for an O scale, or it's half the size of O, so you just double the size, and you do pretty much the same thing as what he's doing. So we do enjoy all scales, but we decided to focus this show on large scale only because there are already all a lot of live shows that focus on other gauges. Like there's shows for O gauge or O scale. There's some guys that are focusing on N scale and HO. Heath from Human Cities, he's a N scaler. He's a good guy for if you're an N scale person. Um, you're going to want to go on Heath's channel, Human Cities, and he does some nice N scale videos as well. So yeah, we like all different scales. I even went to a train show and shot a video of a Z scale layout, and it was like,
Just had to bring it up, Sean.
yeah, but it was an awesome layout. I have never seen anything like this in my life. It was a Z scale train, and I had the video on my channel. It was a Z scale train running through a layout, and the locomotive had a flashing Mars light, and it had sound. And I was so blown away that somebody was able to put sound and a flashing Mars light on this locomotive in Z scale. It just blew me away.
And actually, since you just said that, Sean, uh, something I wanted to mention that I think made a lot of difference for me when it came to the model railroading stuff is when you add sound to any of this stuff, it makes a world of difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, when I first got into G scale, none of my stuff had sound other than that kind of terrible Aristo chuffing steam locomotive sound. But once you hear some halfway's decent sound, whether it's prototypically correct sound or not, but halfway's decent sound, it kind of sells you on it. I mean, it makes a world of difference. I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely. And I sort of got spoiled because when I went into O gauge, in O gauge, all the high end stuff has sound already in it, and so I pretty much forgot that G scale, you have to choose your sound systems, and then install them. What do you find a lot of G scale people using as far as sound units in their trainings?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you what the majority of people are using because I don't have a great feel for it. I mean, I know a lot of people obviously use the Phoenix soundboards and all their stuff, and they've made some pretty exceptional sound files in their product for years. Myself, I know I have Revolution and all of my stuff with their onboard sound, which is it's gotten better over the years. I mean, they don't have the selection of locomotive specific sounds that Phoenix does, but I'd say the majority of people probably have Phoenix and Revolution sound in their stuff now. There is a new system, newer system, I guess that's out. I've seen it a couple of times. I don't own it, which is the RailPro system that's out, and the sound files that they seem to have on there for their stuff are pretty exceptional as well. So it seems like it's making a pretty good dent as far as moving into the G scale world. It seems like everybody that tries it out likes it. I mean, which is great. I'm glad to see something new, coming in. I mean, competition and innovation is what keeps things moving.
Right. Yeah. Um. So I'm just looking at the chat stuff here as I'm going through this.
That's just Kenny rambling away. Kenny,
Probably.
you're supposed to be on a date night. What are you doing on here?
But yeah, so it sounds really do make a big difference, and I've seen Phoenix, as you mentioned, they actually seem to have progressed a lot over the years, especially since when I got into it with their sound system. And I think there's yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a company called Zemo. They offer DCC decoders with sound on them, and they have a library pretty much similar to Phoenix Sounds. And I know there was a couple of guys from Germany who were really big into those Zemo DCC decoders for G scale.
I see Trainwreck Films
Yeah,
commented about QSI Titan.
I
And I
remember
know
that.
that's one I've heard of before, but I'm not 100% familiar with it. Are you familiar with them, Sean?
A little bit. I know QSI was Atlas O got into doing QSI sounds in their O gauge two rail locomotives. But I believe something happened, and I believe QSI eventually went out of business. I know MTH used QSI on our PS1, so QSI was pretty much a popular sound chip for quite a few different manufacturers.
Oh, Trainwreck Films says QSI has stereo audio. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I think as I'm sitting here and I'm watching the comments rolling by, and that there's definitely a lot of different things that can be touched on as we move forward, and hopefully people keep watching after we're done rambling tonight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're pretty much doing this to get an idea and ideas from the general viewing audience of what you guys want to see, and I'm so glad to see so many people commenting on this live feed and interacting with us like this. This totally blows me away, and I'm really enjoying the comments and talking to everybody here. This is. This, it blows me away that this is going so much better than I thought it was going to. But the response here is so positive, and I'm seeing the numbers in the live feed. For a first show, this is really unheard of. I'm seeing numbers as high as 22 at one time in the live
Yeah, we
feed.
seem to be floating around 18. I think we were up to like 25 people watching at one time.
And So, oh, here we go. Here's one. Uh, so there we go. Trainwreck Film says there may be a QSI revival. Greg, I'm not sure what his last name is. May be taking that up.
Greg actually has a really wonderful website with
Yes, he
all kinds
does.
of useful info. I think actually, I think it was your pre-Facebook days. Didn't I think Greg might have had a link on his website to
He
your,
did. Yeah.
what was it, like a Yahoo group? I think that your
Yeah.
USA stuff started out on.
Yeah. I started at the USATG scale group on Yahoo, and he actually hosts. Had a link, and then he hosts a lot of that information that I gathered up over the years about USA trains and what was made and when it was made, and I cataloged a lot of those things with the help of a couple other people as well.
Looks like
Uh,
Trainwreck Films gave us a pronunciation for Greg's last name there. I'll let
okay,
you say it,
yeah,
John, so I don't butcher
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I am not good with certain names. So I would not make a good announcer for calling somebody up to the stage. I'll probably get fired on the first day. Uh, but yeah, so this is something that we definitely want to go forward with, and looking at the interaction with you guys, and it's been great hanging out with everybody, and hopefully we see more people from the large scale community join in with us. We know not everybody's social media, but as Andrew mentions, there's a um. So somebody's got a good question here.
it.
Dunbar
Yeah, they're
has
asking if
that.
Phoenix went out of business, and
I haven't heard anything
I
about
don't
that.
have an official answer on that. I do know it seems like there has been some issues with getting Phoenix boards at times. So I'm not sure, uh, what if their business is in fluctuation or not. Once again, obviously, I don't have an answer to that, so I don't want to speculate on it. I just know that there has been some supply issues recently, which could be affected by other things in the world right now.
There you go. So Trainwreck Film says Phoenix is very much still in business. So there's your answer. Uh, thank you, Trainwreck Films. Do you know him, Andrew? He seems to know a lot of stuff about the G scale world.
Yeah, that's Colin that makes the can pack boxes, which
Oh, okay.
when you were
So
showing photos earlier, I did grab this off my shelf. Sorry, Nico, if you're still watching, I did not find your low ring bolsters yet. They're here somewhere. But this is actually something that Colin sent to me here recently, and this is for the USA 44 ton, which is most people probably know the coupler mounts the um, to the power truck. And what he's done that I really like is the way this mounts up. And I'm sorry, I don't have a better example of. I know, Colin, I should have had this installed by now. Uh, but as you can see, the mounting holes here actually utilizes two of the body mounting holes uh, that hold the shell on. He includes probably kind of hard to see, but he includes some longer screws in with the kit with it. You take those screws out. This fits up in the pilot, and then he has a 3D printed box. I believe it's the 907 KD, the center set one. That actually, once this is mounted up, technical difficulties. 1 second. All right, I found it. Once that's mounted up to the pilot, this you won't see this up here. This will be back behind. But this piece here actually will screw up to there, and then all you actually need then, as far as the KD, is the coupler itself, and you'll need the lid because he's actually got the actual box portion printed in there. But once that's on there, then you'll actually have a officially body-mounted KD coupler on your 44-ton. Once again, apologies, Colin. I know I didn't give the best demonstration there, but we'll leave that to you when you come on to show us your all your products that you have, which are all very, very well made. I think they've added a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more realism to the locomotives, and that I've put them on. As a lot of people maybe know with the USA engines, or Sean knows since he was really into the USA stuff, is all their couplers are mounted low. They're when their knuckle couplers are mounted, they hang a little bit lower than what the standard height is. And when you put KDs on them, typically you always have to use the either the 808 or the 809 that has the offset head on it. When you use the cam pack boxes that Colin makes, hang on one second.
Okay, so while he's doing that,
I'm back.
oh, you're back. Okay.
So I know, shame on me, Colin. I haven't finished this one yet, but it actually works out well because I can show you what it's like with and without it. So if the wizard over there wants to go full screen there.
Hold on one second. There you go.
So I know my lighting's not the best here, and this camera's probably not the best if I get this right. Hang on. Ooh, I hope my mother's not watching. I forgot to call her back. Let's see if I can cheat here with this light. Try not to get glare on my forehead and blind everybody. Let's see. So I don't know. You might be able to see there. That's maybe a little bit better. That your coupler head's actually raised up by the factory, and you can actually see the faux coupler box back here behind. So when you put KDs on most of the USA engines, you end up with this offset head KD on here. Now, the other end of this, I have put the cam pack box on here that Colin makes. And as you can see, it looks a bit different. You actually have a center set KD on there. And you actually have more of a prototypical looking coupler box. And you'll notice that the faux coupler box is actually gone out of there. Because when you install this, you do have to do a little bit of modification. You do have to cut them in the pilot a little bit for it to fit. But once you're done, I haven't painted this yet. This is how they come 3D resin printed. I believe that's correct. It's resin printed, and he includes the plug to fill the pilot in, and just without dropping it. If you see the underside there, he actually has a complete replacement coupler pad that goes in there. The original USA one completely goes away. It uses the same exact mounting holes that the USA one does. And like I said, I think the end result is a lot better looking installation, and I like it a lot better. I mean, I'm not always 100% for prototypical or detailing or anything, but if I have to choose, between the factory look and what Colin offers. I think it's an amazing improvement by every means, but I won't ramble on any more about this because Colin will be able to demonstrate and talk about these a whole lot better when he comes on the next show. And I'm going to set this back on the shelf, because if I set it on the floor, I'll get up, trip, fall, everybody will laugh at me, and then I'll cry on the camera.
Yeah. So while he's putting that on the shelf, I just wanted to mention to everybody that we are going to be doing this show every other week. That way we don't get burned out. So we decided instead of having a weekly show, we were pondering, maybe once a month, but then we were afraid we would lose interest if we only did it once a month. So we decided that having this show every other week was probably best.
Well, and it's better to start out kind of slow with it. Anyhow, it's easier to speed up than it is to slow back down, so to speak, I guess.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, Garden Railways there for the longest time was what, bi-monthly, I think. And then the last year here, they went to, I think, quarterly, and then obviously went out and, there's, G-scale isn't like a lot of the other scales where there's a ton of things going on all at one time.
Right, yeah.
And we'd rather start out slow, and if, this really catches on and we get a lot of interest, but, we want to kind of take a slow pace with it and, just see where it goes,
Right. Yeah, because like you said, you don't want to start out too fast into it to keep the interest there. That's all. And and I hope we can bring all kinds of different subjects to everybody that will interest everybody, and there'll be different guests and different things that we're going to be doing. But for right now, our plan is every other week, and we're going to alternate as well between channels. So I'll host events on my channel and then we'll switch it up with MrPictovid. So we're always switching channels back and forth as well.
Yeah. I guess that's the important thing to note is, each show we're gonna, or at least the way it's planned to work, is each show is we're going to switch between our two channels. Obviously it's on the Dakman Productions YouTube channel this week. The show 2 weeks from now will be over on my channel, MrPictovid. And we'll keep switching back and forth, just to kind of, Sean obviously has a lot more subscribers to his channel than I do. Although now that I said that, I wanted to look here to see where I was at, see if I made it yet. And nope, I'm still 9 subscribers away from 2,000. But Sean obviously has a bit more than that, but I'm sure not all of our subscribers overlap. So, switching back and forth between our channels, hopefully we can cast a broader net, I guess, so to speak. Right, Sean?
Yeah, that's all we're trying to do is we're trying to accomplish, trying to broadcast over a much bigger span because, like, as you mentioned, you may have subscribers that I don't have, and I may have subscribers that you don't have. So by sharing between channels, hopefully we can get this live show, to everybody's living room. And like I said, I made an example or samples of what we can do as far as bringing up and sharing screens. So, like, let's say we just attended the East Coast Large Scale Train Show. I mean, we would have material for that for weeks because one week we can say, okay, this is what all of the hobbies had, or this is what Reindeer Pass had, and here's everything they had to offer, or here was Pico, and this is what Pico had, and so this is I think this is exciting stuff that we can bring this stuff live rather than through posts on Facebook. I mean, that's kind of cool too to do things, but not everybody's social media through Facebook. So hopefully we can spread it even a little bit more further using YouTube. Because everybody's pretty much, I think, has YouTube, and you don't even need a YouTube account to watch these shows. And I'm sure there's people who watch my videos that don't even have a YouTube account.
I'm looking puzzled here. Kenny's asking me what soundboard I put in his GP38. Oh.
Only you can answer that one.
I knew what it was, and Kenny asked me, and it flew right out of my head, which is usually how it works. You know the answer until somebody asks. I'll have to look, Kenny. It's rolling around on the tip of my tongue.
Hey Vincent, how's it going? Nice to see you here. So yeah, we try to shout out different people that we recognize.
If there's anybody we didn't mention, apologies. But I kind of got a feeling between the two of us, Sean, that we probably know most of the people that are in the chat here tonight.
Oh yeah, I recognized a few names. Like I said, a lot of those names I recognize from the East Coast Large Scale Train Show. So it sort of like makes me feel right at home, even though we're not actually at the show. But hopefully we get to see you guys in 2022 at the East Coast Train Show in Timonium. I always look forward to that train show every year and seeing all the
you and I both.
Yeah.
I say the same thing, every year. People will ask, what are you looking for when you go? I'm never looking for anything.
Yeah, I look
that
forward just
doesn't
to
mean I do
talking to
not
people.
come home with all kinds of things, but I like going for the social aspect of it. Cody can attest, or I don't know if that's the proper word, but I don't know how nobody could find me at the show the year before last. Cody and several other people were looking for me and said they walked all around and they couldn't find me. And I'm like, I don't know how you couldn't find me. I'd walk about 2 feet and then stop and talk to somebody for 20 minutes. I mean, I go to the show because how often do you get to see most of those people, Sean? I mean, when the show does go off without issues, unlike this year, I mean it draws people in from a good distance, and that's probably the one thing I like the most about this hobby is I've definitely made a lot of good friends in it.
Oh, definitely. And even when I left the G scale hobby, I never left my friends and I never left those people because they're like the model train people are like family to me. And that's how I feel. And Sean Fields has mentioned that he's subscribed to both of our channels, and I thank you very much, Sean Fields.
Sean's a good guy. He's in a group chat I have with a few other people that are in here. I think that's the thing I like the most. I'm in a lot of the different Facebook groups for G Scale, and even looking at the collection of people that are in our chat right now, any one of us or any one of the people in the chat, have their own, customizations they've done or things they do. But when you have all those people together, I'm not looking for anything, Sean. Are you asking me that? I'm not buttering you up for anything, Sean. I swear. But the collection of people, you put them all together, and there's actually a lot of wonderful things that come from it. Just you know, just conversation in general has inspired people to do different. Well, I don't know. We're sitting here doing a show right now, Sean. That started with a conversation, I guess. Um, oh, thank you, Randall, for subscribing. I highly appreciate it.
So and it's funny you mentioned that, you walk around the train show, 20 minutes, you talk to this person and that person. I get so busy at the East Coast Star Scale train show. I get very minimal time to talk to people. I might spend 5 or 10 minutes with a person, but I have to keep moving on if I'm going to do what I need to do, because I'm there to get as much footage and photos that I can for everybody, especially because if you look at my videos that I take from the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, I focus on individual clubs. I'll make videos from individual clubs of what they're doing, and then at the end I'll combine and do an overall show thing. And I do the same thing with my photos, which is why my photos always work for the vendors. In other words, I'll take a picture of the vendor's sign, whether it's RLD Hobbies, Reindeer Pass, wherever it is. I'll take a picture of it. And so when you look at my photo album, all the photos after that picture of the sign, belongs to that vendor. And that seems to work because people have actually called and say, "Hey, do you still have this? I've seen it in one of Sean's photos." So it does work. These shows do work.
You got some calls this year, didn't you, Sean?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately,
those
yeah.
are some popular photos.
But also, so you guys know, I do have a Facebook page, which I recently renamed to the USA Trains G Scale Archive Photo Library. And in that Facebook is everything that I've cataloged as far as USA Trains products. So you'll see photos, and there's also PDF type files in there. The reason why I changed the name of the group is because people were thinking that I actually worked for USA Trains, which I don't. So I got away from the USAT G Scale group name because people kept commenting and complaining when something went wrong or with the warranty. Look, I'm not USA Trains. I don't work for USA Trains. I'm not part of the warranty department. I'm just a big, huge fan that decided at one point to devote a couple years of putting information together
Hey, they just wanted you to sell them shells this year, Sean, and you didn't have any.
Yeah, I remember that. So as Andrew mentioned,
that was funny though, because
yeah,
Sean had asked me to take some pictures of the USA Trains booth since I was there for a short period, at the shutdown show, to take some pictures of their booth, to which he posted. And, as a lot of people saw after that, the USA had shells for sale. The emails went out, I think for several months after that they were selling them. But at the time, they had a whole mess of them at the show. And Sean posted the pictures, to which people went crazy and wanted to buy the shells. So they started calling Sean because he had the USA Trains G Scale group.
yeah.
So when he changed the name, I said, Sean, why did you change the name?
Yeah, and I said, look, I just got tired of people calling me for product that I'm not selling. It belongs to USA Trains. I'm not USA Trains. I just started a big, basically a fan page is what it really is. It's not an official page of USA Trains per se, because and it's sort of a little disappointing that the USA Trains aren't more social media type of people, but they're just not. So you won't see them on Facebook. So I that's why I tried to bring them to Facebook to help them out, promote what they're doing as well.
Well, I think it's, they don't do a lot of social media, but yeah, that's kind of like me trying to figure out Twitter or trying to think what the heck that other thing is I got on to Reddit.
Oh,
To me, Facebook and YouTube seems fairly easy to navigate, but it's not to everybody. So it may not be that they don't want to do social media; they just may not, have uh, the understanding of it, I guess, maybe, or know where to start with it. Because I'm on Twitter and Reddit, and I don't know what to do with those.
yeah, and that's understandable because there's a lot of them that like Twitter. I don't really get Twitter, so I try not. I don't even deal with it stuff like that. So I get what you're saying,
I
but
see Ellison commented G-scale advertisements for a USA train C44-9W. Does that ring a bell for you, Sean?
not offhand.
Do you see
I would
that
have.
comment I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see it's right here. I would have to go back through my archives.
I know there was several shows back. I remember USA had like a bunch of flyers up for prospective products.
Yeah,
And
that was from
at the time, I thought that they had actually did like some prototyping or something. But I believe you may have corrected me on that at the time. And those were what, upscaled photos of HO or something, I believe.
Yeah, it was actually at the big show they did that. That announcement that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and so basically what they did is they upscaled photos of Kato HO scale locomotives, and they did this basically a poll of what people would like to see, and I'm trying to go through that and find these photos now. And yes, so I will screen share that with everybody so they can see it because this will probably be really interesting for people to see. And give me one moment here. And I think people are going to want to see this. Hold on one second. And I'm going to share screen. I think I'm getting a little bit better at this. Okay, share. All right, so um, there we go. All right, so we'll single this out. All right, so this is back from the big show when it was still open. The big show is no more, unfortunately, as most people may or may not be aware. But so this was the year that USA Trains had actually announced a poll, and this here is their booth that they set up at the big train show, and so we move on, and then you see the two reps from that are representing USA Trains. All right, and here's some of the stuff that they did at the big show. And here you go. This, as
Where
you
was the big
see,
show held at, Sean?
it was held in California. It used to be on the Queen Mary, but they moved it to another location.
I got a
And then,
feeling that Colin probably knows about this show then, because I think this is out in his neck of the woods.
yeah, it would be. And then they pretty much ended it after it moved it. I think it was more successful on the Queen Mary. I don't know why it was moved from there, but it was moved. But if you look at this picture here, it says USA Trains values your opinion. Please come in and take a look at a survey on new products. Now, this was just a survey that they were doing. And here was another sample here. If you look at this picture, this was they were thinking about doing an AC it's supposed to be SD70 ACE. They screwed up here in their spelling, but they were going to try and offer cooling fans to convert their SD70 Mac into an SD70 ACE, but they decided not to do it because they felt as though it wouldn't be prototypical enough. Don't. So here you go. We got some cars here that they were talking about offering. So they were talking about producing high-Q box cars. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened as of yet. USA Trains is also talking about making an 89-foot all-purpose flat car. I have seen a sample of that. There is one sample at Charles Rowe in a glass case, but that project never went forward either. They were talking about doing a front runner, which railroads don't even use anymore. They scrapped them because they really didn't work. This actually came to be. There's that actually got produced. That is actually a photo of a Cato HO locomotive. That's not the USA Trains prototype. And here you go. Here are the locomotives that USA Trains presented. They are all photos of Cato locomotives. It says it in small print, which is how I know this is a fact. It says Cato HO locomotives used for illustration. But these were all actually voted on during the show, and obviously the Union Pacific FEF won the survey. So you can see that I think that Pennsylvania K4 would have been pretty popular if they actually made that. What do you think, Andrew?
What's that, Sean?
The K4.
The K4?
Yeah, don't you see it in the photo?
Yeah, I see it. I'm actually kind of surprised to see that there because I thought somebody else had already made that by that time.
A K4 in G scale?
Yeah, K4 Pacific.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I believe AML made it, didn't they? I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, they might have made it in live stream and stuff, but I think maybe USA Trains might have been cheaper. The Challenger was also made by MTH, but that was 132 scale. They were talking about doing a dry fist, which AccuCraft did make in live steam. So I don't know how much more cheaper it would have been if USA Trains had done it. And then we have here USA Trains was considering making a 40-foot gondola and a 50-foot gondola. Unfortunately, these projects never came to be either. People are always asking, hey, why don't USA Trains consider making Amtrak? And here you can see they actually presented that in a poll. They even presented an Amtrak F40PH in a poll as well. But so far, those projects haven't panned out. Now, if you look at this photo here, this was one that I took at Charles Rowe when I visited there. And Charles Rowe is home of USA Trains. And you can see their sample 89-foot all-purpose flat car there.
It's funny that you pulled that picture up because Colin, our Trainwreck Films, made mention, and I can't think of who it is that's making them. I saw it in one of the Facebook groups, but somebody is actually making 89-foot flats right now.
Okay.
I believe on a smaller scale, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they might. Colin will probably chime in there, but I think they might be made out of aluminum. I could be wrong.
Yeah. And those photos that you guys seen from the was the next to the last show that the big train show had, which I believe was like 2014. And so that's how long those projects have been in limbo for. Whether they go forward with them anytime soon, I don't know. But Aristocrats, was one of the last ones that made the gondola that was halfway decent.
Looks like Raymond Abbott said he actually has an AML K4 that is electric.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I thought they made an electric one as well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Trainwreck says I forgot who it is that is making those flats, but they are on Facebook.
A couple people asked Sean. I don't know if you did in the description or not. Asked if I had a link to my channel. I can't post anything in the live chat. Did you happen to include a link to that in the description of the video by chance, or no?
No, I didn't. I probably should have, and I can actually put that in probably in the comments as we're speaking.
Okay.
So, as I'm trying to find your channel, if you wanted to talk about something else for a moment here, please.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about? No, I was as we were talking about that 89-foot flat car. I noticed the one in the picture was kind of sagging a little bit there, and I think that might have been one of the issues they had when they were looking at those was the structure of them. And I believe the ones that the gentleman is making, I was trying to look in the Facebook groups to see if I could find it. I thought they were made out of aluminum, which would definitely give them a little bit more structural integrity, but I don't see them right now. But I know there's a lot of different things out there, and actually, and I apologize, I don't remember the person I bought it from now, but you know, there's all kinds of different people making stuff, and obviously, 3D printing has brought a lot of different things around that wouldn't have. But I have a 3D printing kit that I have yet to do anything with, like a lot of other projects I have laying around. But somebody actually did a 3D print of a
Hold on.
Pensy
There you go.
N8 caboose. It's actually, the way it was printed was actually, I believe, standing up on end to be able to get the print in the 3D print that they did. But it's a Pensy N8 caboose that had to be done in two halves, which will probably be a little bit of a challenge for me to put together. But it has all the components and everything that goes with it. The walkways for the roofs and the for the ends of the caboose are 3D printed out, and 3D printing has really. I think it's really opened up a lot of different doors. I mean, one of the biggest hurdles for manufacturing in G scale, I think everybody knows, is they got minimum quantities on anything they get made, and it's not like everybody's beating down doors to buy G scale. I'm granted, there's a lot of us that do want to buy G scale, but I think for the sheer quantity that most of the manufacturers in China want to do an order, it's very cost prohibitive, which I think is why we don't see a lot of stuff. But I've seen a lot of different things come about from 3D printing. There's even I don't think he has a YouTube channel. I believe it's James Caitlin. I think he's got a Facebook group that's mold making for modelers that I'm in, and he's actually done a lot of resin molding in that. He's actually made a lot of nice stuff. I think he's even working on some passenger cars. I believe he's using, I want to say PVC. He's actually using it to make the cars. And actually thinking about that, I've seen, a couple different people that have done, modern style tank cars, making them out of PVC pipe, and that have come out quite well, actually. I'm just looking here. I saw Randall Ellison.
Yeah, he
On,
just
but I'm not
mentioned
sure
that
what he's on.
he
So I got.
mentioned that he mentioned that he was thinking about USA or
Oh,
Aristocraft and USA trains. Andrew, we are running on your 2 hours time limit there, dude. I didn't know how strict you were about that.
I think the wife's asleep right now. She can't kill me until she wakes up and watches the video tomorrow, I guess.
I mean, as long as you're okay with it, we can keep continuing.
We can go a little bit longer. We still got people watching. I mean, I don't want to. I wasn't really even paying attention to the time here, so I don't really want to just hard cut off right now on it. So
Right, yeah.
we can go on a little bit longer and kind of lead it to a more gradual ending, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple people that have got into doing 3D printing, and yeah, as you noticed in my photo of the USA Trains all-purpose flat car, yeah, it was pretty much sagging in the middle, and I think that's what why they maybe perhaps they didn't move forward with it.
Actually, now that you said that, and I have no idea who actually did this car. I bought it from somebody else, and I believe they got it from eBay. Maybe the person that made it's watching. I don't know. But this is one of the USA. Roll back a little bit. One of the USA center beam flat cars that somebody actually had stretched out. And to give you an idea, there's no wheels on this one, but that's the 40-foot variety of it. So you can kind of get an idea. They stretched it out a good bit, and it actually they're not a super expensive car. I mean, obviously it takes two of them to make them, but it's actually a pretty decent car once it's stretched out. I want to say it's, I don't know, maybe like 60 foot or so. And the person who did it actually put the USA die-cast trucks with the spinning end caps on them, so it gives it a nice weight. But I don't know. It's just kind of a good example of stretching this car out. Probably isn't a super involved thing. It's a fairly simple car, but it does make a nice piece, which I was going to say kind of makes you wonder why USA hasn't made them in this length, but I think someone may have answered that earlier. Well, I think I answered that one for myself after I brought it home and found out it wouldn't go around the 8-foot diameter curves I had at the time. So as soon as Cody redoes the curves on my layout, anytime you want to come over, Cody, you may see that running in a video one day on my layout.
You know who was selling those on eBay that I noticed back at the time I was doing G Scale was an eBay seller by the name of Anna Kramer, and I don't know if that's who you bought yours from, but he had some for sale as well.
No, I actually brought this one home from the show that didn't happen earlier this year.
But
I bought it from a friend of mine, and when I asked him where he got it from, he couldn't remember exactly. He just remembered that he had gotten it off of eBay at the
yeah,
time.
it was probably the person I'm thinking of then, because Anna Kramer was the one who was selling a lot of those custom I-beam cars or Sunbeam cars, and basically Albert Kramer, Al Kramer, who owned Sandval, when he shut his store down, he actually started an eBay store under the name Anna Kramer. So that's actually Al Kramer on Sandville, and he's had a lot of custom USA trains done
Yeah, I
too.
know he. I know I've seen him on there because I'll see a lot of times he'll have like the the USA flat cars, and he'll pair them with like this
Yeah,
Nmra semi trailer, um, for a piggyback. I know I see a lot of these, and I believe that's that Kramer that you mentioned that I see those on.
Randall says if you don't show up for the next show, he knows that what will happen. He knows will know what happened. Your wife probably beat you up or killed you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. My wife actually enjoys going to the the next live show. Well, yeah. This is video evidence. If anyone's watching, uh,
And
the actual like East Coast train show, she's always on board to go to that. She always enjoys going to that and seeing everybody. Um, yeah, that's one thing I've never had any issues with is going to anything like that. She's usually on board for it.
and Bruce says he is staying on until the end. Thank you for your support, Bruce. That's what
Thank
we
you
like.
very much.
So I'm glad and it looks like the numbers are pretty much staying consistent with it as everybody's hanging out with us. Where you've been staying right
Yeah,
around 20.
yeah,
Uh,
20. It's gone up and down a little bit as I haven't paid super close attention to it, but it seems like we've stayed right around that 20 mark.
right. And and we can actually do requests. So if you guys want to see, in future live shows, you can actually put a request in the chat and say, hey, can you show us a little bit more USA trains in the past stuff? And I got a lot of stuff that's archived. I got thousands and thousands of photos and old ads, and because I've seen somebody like, wow, that was an old ad that I showed from RLD Hobbies from years ago. But yeah, I
Yeah,
saved a
that
lot of
ad kind of caught me off guard. I thought maybe you had just cut it out of a magazine and scanned it.
But that's how I saved stuff back from the day. I cut it out and scanned it to my computer and saved it.
Yeah, but no, I mean you make a good point though, Sean. People are more than welcome to put their requests in there. I'm sure there might be some things that we may not be able to do, but we'll obviously try our best with it. And as always, if we don't know something and there happens to be someone that does, and we can have them on at a future time to go over stuff, we're open to that as well.
Oh yeah,
You know, anybody's more than welcome to message Sean or myself. If you so desire, because like I said, neither one of us really are looking to be the stars of the show.
no,
you
we
know,
want the G scale community to be the start of the show. We're me and Andrew are just on here as sort of like an intro to the host, so you know who's hosting the show and who we are and what our channels are all about, and we're both into promoting the hobby and the manufacturers and the hobby shops, and without them, there is no uh, hobby at all. So we try to do our best to not only promote the train shows, but also to bring people videos that can't otherwise go to the train show. Either they live too far away or they're handicapped in some way, so they can't make it there. So we try to bring videos to your living rooms as well.
it does kind of make you wonder, though. What amount of people, just by seeing videos of the stuff, have been influenced to get into the hobby. And I think that's something you and I talked about the other week, Sean, is like new people in the hobby. And I think I can honestly say, looking through the Facebook groups and that, I've seen a lot of new faces pop up in there. I see a lot of questions that people asking, where to buy track at, or where to buy locomotives at. unfortunately, there's only a handful of answers to most of those.
Yeah.
It seemed like 10, 15 years ago, there were a lot more hobby shops than there are now. But thankfully, the ones that we do have, are all pretty decent places to deal with.
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest hurdle to anybody trying to get into the hobby is finding some place where you can walk in and physically put your hands on it, and the other part is affording it. Just looking at the comment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Sean Fields. We appreciate it. For our I guess for my rambling on it, Sean's been more coherent than I have. I'm usually not a in front of the camera kind of person. But thank you for the feedback on the show. We appreciate that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this is something that we want to, we were testing the waters to see if there would be interest, and obviously between the views that we're getting and the chat that everybody's interacting with, I mean, I'm feeling pretty positive about this, and I knew that even though I had this idea, there was no way I could do something like this alone, and I thought Andrew from MrPictovid was a perfect fit because we both think alike and we both do a lot of videos on G Scale. We have a lot of the same techniques, and I just felt as though our teaming up, and I've teamed up with him before, and I like how we teamed up and how we did different things. And I don't know, I just liked our team up all around. So
we tend to be pretty like-minded. I mean, like I wouldn't have done this by myself, either. Like I said, I'm not a in front of the camera kind of person. Doing it with somebody else, I'd be sitting here doing a lot of and so
yeah, it really isn't. This really isn't easy because but for me, I've already had plenty of live show experience, I guess you could say, because I've been brought on to live shows. I'm co-hosting live shows now with Crossed Anchors, and so I'm kind of like at ease with doing something like this, and I know generally what the audience is expecting and the answers and stuff. So I try to keep the subjects moving and the flow going. So for me, it's kind of like riding a bike, I guess. But let's see.
I'm not sure the last time I rode a bike, Sean. They say you never forget.
Yeah. But and that's what we're trying to do as well. Is we're trying to have fun on the show. We just don't want it to be all facts and figures. No, we want to have fun on here as well with everybody. And
you just have to watch what you say.
Yeah. There's certain things that you do have. Yeah, because YouTube will kick certain things off.
Yeah, the YouTube bots don't look at the context of what was said. They look for phrases. And,
right. Yeah.
We had a good first learning lesson on that one.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yeah, so you do have to watch how you approach different subjects, and so if you twist something around in a certain way and it doesn't come out quite right, yeah, YouTube will flag for if it's something too extreme.
Yeah, I do know how to edit Sean Fields. I just have to show Dakman over there how to edit the live stream afterwards to keep us in the G ratings.
Randall says it's been a fun stream, even though I don't do G skill. I still learn quite a bit, and I'm so happy to hear that because we're the same way. Andrew's G skill. I'm O gauge now, even though he's G and I'm O. we still enjoy other scales of trains. We just don't stick to our own kind. Andrew's done other scales as well in video. I mean, HO, and as long as it's a model train, we don't care. I mean, we like it all as well. So
it doesn't stop Sean and I from harassing each other about about scale differences between O and G. It's all in good fun between us. We won't go into that banter, but
no.
we always have a good time with harassing each other. Which
Oh
once
yeah.
again comes back around to the thing I like about our hobby is the social aspect of it, and once again, I'm actually trying to think how you and I originally crossed paths, Sean.
I believe it was at a train show, the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, wasn't it?
I'm honestly not sure. I
Neither
know
am I.
there's a good bit of people that I first met them through the different Facebook groups, but I honestly can't remember if we originally met up through Facebook, or if it was at one of the shows.
It could be.
I feel like I'm getting really old. And despite the lighting, I do actually have a little bit more hair on top. I kind of look really bald with my head that way. Yeah.
Canadian Railroad says he'll do his best to keep catching your live streams, and that's great. And it's funny,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
and I'm glad somebody from Canada is actually here because I want to show him something. If he's a G scaler, I think he would totally enjoy this. And I'm going to go to, yes, I'm going to go to this screen here. And then I'm going to share screen, just a quickie here. Application window, share. So there is a place called ArtNap in Canada. For those who are not familiar, ArtNap is one of the Canada's biggest G scale dealer, and he's done some custom runs with USA Trains as well. So ArtNap had this refrigerator car, this Alexander car made for them. He's also done this Canadian National caboose. They also, and it's kind of blurry, but they had this Canadian National. You can see in a photo, only 100 was produced for ArtNap trains. And this was a different road number than the standard run. And ArtNap trains actually gave me permission to use these photos, by the way. So a shout out to ArtNap trains in Canada. Thank you for allowing me to go ahead and reuse these photos. So these photos are used in permission with ArtNap trains. So here we have a custom run Canadian National NW2. Only 100 of those were made. And here's another road number. And they also did a CP rail and a S2 and 2 road numbers, 50 of each. And so ArtNap Trains has, pretty much had USA Trains make custom runs as well. And so that's just, like I said, that's just a small sample of what we can do and show to everybody.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you knew about all those trains that in this short period that I've been showing to you even existed, but like I said, I cataloged with the help of a couple other people. I cataloged thousands of USA Train products that people just didn't know existed even back then.
Oh, there's still stuff that comes up that a lot of people aren't aware of. So something I'll pull out here real quick. I know some people have seen them, but there's always that obscure item. People will see it and they ask who it was made by. I could get it out of here. Is something that Aristocrat did some time ago. Was this brass N5C caboose that they did. I don't know. There's a good number of them out there. This one's in a little bit of need of some repair work, but I believe a big majority of these were actually recalled back. I believe they, if I remember correctly, had cold solder joints on them, which is the problem that this one has, where some of the pieces have come off of it over time. But every now and then you'll see one of these, show up online, and a lot of people don't know about them, and they'll start asking who made it. When you tell them Aristocrat, a lot of people are really kind of like, what do you mean Aristocrat made that? Because I had the same exact response when I first saw it at one time. So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of the things that you showed, Sean. There's definitely some more obscure things out there than that Aristo caboose, because there are several of those floating around out there. I see them more often than not. But
Canadian Railroads has just informed me that sadly ArtNap shut down in January, which I was not aware of. So that is kind of sad to hear, because that was Canada's biggest G scale dealer that they had. So that's wow, that just blows me away, because ArtNap's been around for a long time.
Cody's like warping my mind right now, because he says, I knew you, Sean, before I even knew you.
Randall's
now I know why Cody stays awake at night thinking.
Yeah. Randall says, as it stands now, the only major scales that aren't part of a club display is G and Z scale.
That's the West Plains Model Railroad Club.
Yeah.
OSHO and now N. Yeah, it seems like a lot of times, I've seen several, multi-scale clubs, that I know one that does HO and N. I know another one that does 2-rail O scale and HO, but G usually kind of seems like you don't see too many multi-scale clubs that are, HO and G or N and G, and the same way I don't. It seems like 3-rail O gauge is kind of, you don't see too many multi-scale clubs with that. Although isn't there a club near you, Sean, that actually has O and G?
All three of them?
No, just 3-rail O, and I thought you said they had G.
Oh yeah, the North Penn O gaugers. They were mainly O gauge, and they decided to go ahead and open it up to G scale or garden trains as well, which is kind of rare, because I'll just get right to the point. A lot of I think what Andrew's trying to say is sometimes a lot of gauge people don't get along. So like an O gauge person will stick with O and not have any interest in
wasn't
HO.
hinting at that at all, actually.
So
I wasn't even hinting at that.
So sometimes I think there are people who are diehards, just like there are diehard Ford guys and Chevy guys that, okay, HO is all I want, and that's all. So they might have, they might not want to be, around other gauges, but it's very rare that I see clubs and multiple scales. But all the clubs in my area are one scale. They're either HO, they're N only, they're O. It's kind of like rare, actually. Bruce is saying or asking, will you have a link on your Facebook page for the next show? what we're going to do, Bruce, is we're going to create an event like we did for this one.
Yeah.
And we'll share that event on both of our pages. So the next event will be both on the Dakman Productions Facebook page and MrPictovid's Facebook page, so you can't miss it for the next show.
Yeah, we'll both be listed as hosts on it, so the event will show up on both our Facebook pages with the link to this one. I see Sean Fields commented on that Aristo N5C caboose. He said they only made one run of them, which would sound right to me because I can't imagine they ever did a second run of them. I believe they recalled however many of them that they did, and that was it. They disappeared. I see Canadian. Oh, okay, you just pulled it up there.
So Canadian
Garden Railways.
Yeah, it's pretty much our last dedicated store. Wow. So they only have one dedicated large-scale train store left.
Let's see, where in Canada are they located at? I wonder.
I'm not sure.
What do you say, Winona?
And I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Art Nap or a separate company that were offering Canadian Y cab locomotive cabs for the SD70 Mac, I'm thinking.
Looks like, oh, I have no idea how to say that. It's in Ontario, Canada. Is it? I don't know. It's spelled Guelph. How do you say that, Sean?
I have no idea.
It's in this town with a G, Ontario. Yeah, I know a couple of people that are into G scale in Canada. Actually, I think I can probably think of at least 5 or 6 off the top of my head that live up in Canada. Which I think you have to have a passport now to get into Canada, don't you? Yep. The last time I went up there was when you just had to have your birth certificate still and your driver's license.
Yeah, now you need an actual passport. Because I had somebody from Canada that wanted me to come and shoot video of their Garden Railway, and I had to politely turn them down because, between the passport and the cost and all that stuff, I just couldn't do something like that.
I see Randall Ellison said his gut feeling is G scale is not far off from joining the club display. The same for Z scale. But what about T scale? Isn't T scale smaller than Z?
Yes, you have T scale, which is actually smaller than Z.
That makes my eyes hurt.
Yeah, those trains are picking up with a pair of tweezers.
Imagine the size layout you could have in your basement if you went T scale, Sean.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I want to see the T scale Garden Railroad though.
And it's funny that you say something like that because I'm sure that a lot of large scale people didn't realize that you could have O gauge outside.
You and I have talked about that before, and I wish I could think of what YouTube channel it was. The guy had a whole series on building an O gauge Garden Railroad, and I think the main part of that was he used the Atlas O gauge track because it's nickel silver. I think all the other O gauge track is steel or rust.
Yeah, it's actually getting pretty popular, especially in England. It seems like that people are actually going O gauge outside instead of G, which I found kind of interesting. And Atlas makes the track that you need to be outside. And there's actually a store called Henning's Trains during Lansdale, Pennsylvania. They've had an outdoor O gauge layout using Atlas O track, and it's been outside for 10 years. And just like a G scale layout, it is track powered. So all they do is they got a Scotch-Brite pad on a old mop panel. They clean it up and they run their O gauge trains outside. It's kind of like neat.
Just got to put revolution in the O gauge and battery power, Sean. You don't have to clean the track.
Well, they enjoy running track power the old-fashioned way. Canadian Railroad says he built his. I would like to see a picture of that. I built my own custom Y cab.
I'm trying to think right now. Let me look here.
I know there was somebody who at one time offered Canadian Y cabs for these locomotives. I can't remember who it was.
I want to say I remember seeing something offered. I don't know if it was a 3D print or if it was like a resin mold.
Right, yeah, I'm not sure which one it is either.
But that does sound familiar. I swear I remember seeing something like that. I saw somebody in the chat mention somebody earlier that was doing some stuff like that too. This chat log has gotten rather long now.
Well, that's a good thing in a way because I like seeing so many people involved with this.
Let's just get here.
And I don't think I have anything in my note. I would have to dig through my archives and find out.
No, I was since Canadian Railroads commented that they built some of their own custom wide cabs. I was looking up their YouTube channel to see if I saw anything on there. I'll have to take a look through here. Ooh. I see a G-Scale SD40QRM. Huh. I'm going to have to check it. Actually, you know what? While I'm sitting here right now, I'm going to subscribe to this channel so that I remember to come back and check out the videos because I see a lot of interesting things on here.
And he's G-Scale?
Yeah. Oh, actually, looks like here's a video here. Looks like maybe this might be custom wide cabs. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anybody that wants to check that out, just look up Canadian Railroads, the channel on YouTube, and I see a couple different videos, it looks like, with the wide cabs. Actually, the one video is titled G-Scale onto G-Scale -9 Part 3. Sorry, I'm not super up to speed on Canadian wide cab diesels, but anyone that's possibly intrigued by that, take a look. It looks like some interesting videos on here.
Yeah, that was one.
Stay up and binge watch tonight.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest complaints I've seen from quite a few people, that for the G-Scale community, that doesn't seem like there was enough Canadian road names being made or produced.
It seems like G-Scale kind of has that issue with a lot of different roads, and I think it comes down to, obviously manufacturers have to sell things and make money, and I think they tend to a lot of times go with the safer choices of stuff they know is going to sell. I'm trying to think if there's any G-Scale manufacturer that has done any diesels in Penn Central. I've seen some Penn Central ones that were custom painted. I'd like to have at least one Penn Central in my roster, but I don't think it's a. I know Penn Central's not a road that's really favored very highly in G-Scale, and yeah, you see. I mean, we see a lot of what Santa Fe. Well, you see a lot of Santa Fe in just about every scale. But Santa Fe, oh boy, those quite a bit.
I was just thinking, maybe we should have Canadian Pacific contact us, and maybe he would make a good candidate.
Canadian Railroads, Sean. Canadian Railroads.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said Canadian Pacific.
Getting tired, I guess. But Canadian Railroads, yeah, I think he would. I think he would make a good candidate for one of our guests, especially because he said that these are his builds. So I think that would be
Yeah.
interesting. Somebody interesting to bring on our show if he's interested in coming
Yeah.
aboard.
Reach out to Sean or I if you'd, you know, be interested in talking about coming on the show. If you know, want to show any builds you've done or whatever. Like, as we said a couple of times tonight, we're all about making this to showcase, the other people in the hobby.
Yeah. Plus, I would like to know how he did these builds.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep looking at the videos on the YouTube channel there. They kind of start auto playing as you scroll over them. Kind of like that dog in the movie Up that kept seeing a squirrel.
Yeah. But it's
Let
always nice to
me
see.
minimize that so I quit looking at it.
It's always nice to see the different talents that everybody has to offer. As we meet people, and because a lot of these people, some of these people that are on here, we would have never met at a train show. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to see the people we do know, but it's also nice to see new people too. That we haven't met yet.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised all the time the people that you meet that you didn't know were out there. Especially every time I meet somebody that is in my area that's in the G scale, and you find out that they only live 20, 30, 45 minutes or so away from you. It that's one thing I'll say about social media in general is you know prior to social media, I mean, how did a lot of us even come across each other? I probably never would have met you, Sean, and a lot of other people. Um, I mean, I remember years ago. I remember people in the garden railways and that writing in and requesting, looking for people in their area that was in the G scale and that because they didn't know how to meet up with anybody else. You know, I mean, maybe that'll be one function that our show can serve as to hopefully maybe connect some more people. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. But and this hobby is not just here in the United States. It's in Canada. It's in Europe. Germany and France. I know a couple guys in Denmark who are running USA trains.
I
But
see a I see a question. Last one that came up in the feed there from Frank Sean.
mhm.
Uh, if you want to pop that one up there now, I can't specifically answer on. Um, I think it's Kirkville
Yeah,
Locomotive Works is who that is.
yeah.
Now
I'm familiar.
I can't 100% answer for the texture on his 3D prints. I know I've seen pictures of them, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but um, you might be able to kind of hear. I know it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but there's definitely a, there this type of 3D printing. You can see it's not perfectly rounded. You can see the lines across there. This type of, and I'm sorry, I'm not a big up to speed 3D printing guy. I believe this is like PLA or something like that. Um, I want to say the stuff that Kirkville 3D prints is probably similar in texture to this. Um, you have to do a little bit of filling on them, whether it's I know some people use like that. I don't know. You're into auto mechanic stuff, Sean. Don't they make like a spray primer filler that
Yeah,
they?
you can buy primer filler in a can, but I think with his is a little bit more rougher than that, and you're going to have to do some sanding on those uh,
Yeah.
before
So
you get any.
yeah, just like that caboose kit I have there, I'm pretty sure Kirkville stuff is you'll have to do a little bit of finishing on it. You're not gonna. Uh, I mean, you can put it together as is, but it does need a little bit of finishing. And in saying that, I'm not talking bad about what he's making
Oh yeah, he
by
makes some nice
any
stuff.
means. It's just the nature of the process of how that type of 3D printing is done. It's basically, I think, extrusion based. It's heating up the plastic and melting it together, as opposed to uh, our guest for the next show, which is going to be, and Colin, I'm sorry if I say your last name wrong, uh, Colin Camarillo from Camarillo Pacific and his Campact boxes. Now, the 3D printing that he does for these coupler mounts, you might be able to see, you might see some lines in them a little bit, but I can tell you that these are actually a very, very smooth print. Um, the quality of the camera isn't real great, but he's actually got writing in there. And I guess when I say print, this type of 3D printing is not an extrusion based, it's resin based. And I'm sure Colin can talk about it a lot better. But I believe this stuff is actually, I believe you have a tank that's actually full of the liquid resin, and I believe it actually shoots laser light through there to actually solidify the resin. Um, and I believe it's a little bit more expensive way to print stuff, but you can actually get some very accurate, smooth parts that don't require a whole lot of finishing. Um, I'm waiting for Colin to get back around to, I believe he was doing a GP9B kit that he was working on at one point for the USA Trains GP9, GP7 to make B units. And the way he was making them with the resin printing, there really isn't. Okay, yes, yeah, I said it wrong. You know what, Colin? I'm gonna let you say your name when you come on the show.
There you go.
Uh, I'm sorry, I absolutely hate butchering people's last names. Uh, um, I want to say he's saying Camarillo.
Yes.
Am I saying that right,
Camarillo.
Colin? Is it Camarillo? You can give me a yes or a no, or uh, you can you can frown at me some more because I said it wrong. I apologize to anybody in advance if I ever butcher your name. It's not something. Yeah, even Cody, I'm not 100% sure how to say his last name. I usually avoid saying it. If I go off of
Get,
how if I go off of how my Android phone says Cody's last name, I'm pretty sure it's not correct. I know, Colin. I should have got an Apple.
but getting back to
Sorry.
the Kirkville cars that you mentioned that are 3D printed, Kirkville is all owned by a guy by the name of Mark the National, and
He's
I
out of
might
New
be
York, right?
butchering, huh?
He's out of New York, right?
I'm not sure where he's from, but I actually met him at an East Coast large scale train show one year where he was actually on display, and so he had some of his stuff that he was 3D printing at the time. Excuse me. So I started laughing a little bit because I wanted to share a short, funny story about how I met Mark. So, as everybody knows, that I would always shoot photos of the show, certain photos, and I would put them up for display before the show even opened. So and that sort of gave people an insight of what they expected before the show started. So at the time, I was with a vendor rolling stock trains as a guest. So we're sitting there or standing in line, waiting to get into the train show, and so it was me and a few other people and Mark the National. And while we're standing there waiting to get in, I already had photos in my phone. So I'm uploading these photos as we're standing and waiting in line for the guy to open the door for the vendors. And this is before the public is even allowed in. So I'm uploading these photos, and Mark just happens to look from his phone. He's like, "Is this place open?" And they're telling him, "No, it's not open." He goes, "Well, how is Sean Conahey in there getting photos or posting photos? He's in there right now posting photos." And they're all looking at him like he's crazy because I'm standing right behind him as he's saying this. and and so that's how I got to meet Mark, and everybody's like, "Well, that's Sean right there behind you." He looks at me and goes, "Oh, hey, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I have photos already loaded up on my phone from when we had it set up, so that's why you were thinking that I'm in there." He goes, "Oh, I thought you were already inside." No, I wasn't already inside. So that it just made me laugh a little bit when we were discussing about Kirkville, and that's how I got to meet him.
Yeah, Frank's question when he said he's interested in the Alcos, I, that's something you really don't see a whole lot of is Alco road diesels in G scale. I wouldn't mind having one or two Alcos like that. I think he does like the. I don't have his website up in front of me. I know he's done a bunch of different ones. I know he did the Alco Sentries and a couple of different ones, some of the switchers and that. The thing that holds me back from that is the same reason why that caboose kit I have isn't built yet, is just the finishing aspect of it. I mean, you can make really nice models out of them, but you know, it takes a little bit of work to finish the prints off. One day, you know, I'll put it in my pile of 500 other projects I said I'd like to do.
Sean Fields says, "Guys, it's been a great evening." He's going to bed. MrPictovid, see you in a thread. Great show. Thank you guys for enjoying our first show. And
yeah, thanks for tuning in, Sean Fields.
yeah,
I guess we probably should start wrapping it up.
yeah.
I think that was an hour ago that we were gonna taper
Well,
out.
you did tell me that you had. Oh, I have a strict policy. Make sure it's only 2 hours, and I did tell you at 2 hours that
I
you
had to
know.
tell you that while the wife was awake and looking at me, and while I was talking to her.
But yeah, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because we're moving up onto the 3 hour mark, and I'm sure everybody's heading off to bed. It's almost 11:30, and so we're going to make sure you look at either the Dakman Productions or MrPictovid Facebook pages. We're going to list our next live show event on both of our pages. We're going to share it.
And of course, our guest is going to be Colin Camarillo, and like I said, he does the cam pack coupler boxes. Plus, he has, you know, as he mentioned in the thread, he's got, you know, of course, the GP9 B that he's working on. Looks like also a wide cab kit and high nose conversion. He'll be our guest on the next show, and he'll show us a bunch of the different products that he makes and demonstrate them for us. I'm sure he can talk about them and explain them way better than I did.
So yes, stay tuned for our next show. Like I said, it's every other week, not every week. Every other week, so we don't get burned out. will be hosting this live show about the large scale trains, and looking forward to our next guest, or our first guest actually, Colin. And hope you guys enjoyed what we've done so far. It looks like we've had quite a bit of interaction. So, and I'm so happy and thrilled that this video actually took off as well as it
We still
has
got
on the show.
still got
Huh?
19 people watching right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm very happy with how this first live show went, and remember, it's not about us. It's about the G Scale community. The G Scale community is the star of the show. Want to be a part of the show? We would love to have you. We can do a video interview of you in private, and we can chat and talk. So we can also Facebook chat, so we can get to know each other and see what you want to do and present. So there's a lot of options here to do a lot of things that you
And that's
know.
the biggest thing too. Is anybody that's hesitant about it, you don't have to worry about coming on and being put on the spot. We can, Sean and I had many conversations over the past several weeks before tonight came around. This isn't scripted by any means, but
No,
this
it,
isn't
it's live
investigative
raw.
recording where we're going to put you under a hot lamp and drill you for questions. Sean does that off camera.
Yeah, but
That's his dark man persona.
but this has been a lot of fun. I really, I miss all the G Scale people out there hanging out with the shows and stuff. So I'm so glad to be doing this and be part of this. And it was an idea that I had, and Andrew helped make that idea become reality. I'm so happy it's going well. So.
Yeah, I think we definitely carried more people watching than what. I mean, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect for people tuning in to watch, but you know, to more established channels in the live streaming, constant of 20 people watching probably, that
Well,
isn't a
I
lot
think
for them, but for us that ain't too bad, especially considering we've only had it out there for about a week that we were doing it.
yeah, and the plus side is, I think we're the only ones doing a live show about large scale trains. I don't think there's anybody else out there. So I think this is an innovative new idea, and I hope it
Yeah,
catches on.
yeah, I really don't think I've run across anyone else that's doing that. Um, but
All right, so we're going to go ahead and close the show up, and I thank everybody who's tuned in, who's
yes, thank you everyone.
and thank those who were involved in the chat asking questions. It just drives us to keep doing this show, and it shows us there's a real true interest, and we're looking forward to the next show. The next show is going to be on MrPictovid's channel, so make sure you subscribe to his channel as well to catch the next show, and we're going to alternate. And thank you for tuning in to our brand new production company, Shared Assets Productions, which is a team up between Mr. Pictovid and Dakman Productions. Thank you, everybody, for who joined, and we'll